Ben Spies made quite an impact in just his second game with Minnesota, getting both goals in a win last week over Edmonton, one of which earned him the NASL Play of the Week. BC is just one of 5 players returning to Fort Lauderdale roster from 2015. The talented Brazilian midfielder finished 4th on the team in goals scored last year with 5. After consecutive road games to start the season, the home opener is finally here. Minnesota United split their first 2 games, but an aggressive showing last week in Edmonton has the Loons already moving up the spring table. 2 highlight reel goals in 2 weeks. Can they keep it up? Struggling Fort Lauderdale needs to kickstart their season, but the hostile Nessie environment won't make it easy. It's sure to be rowdy. The Fort Lauderdale Strikers and Minnesota United. Next. After spending the first 2 weeks of the season on the road, Minnesota United gets to play in front of their home fans for the first time in 2016 as they host the Strikers of Fort Lauderdale. Welcome inside the National Sports Center for Minnesota United's home opener. Alongside Minnesota Kicks legend Alan Willie, I'm Chris Lidholm. Eric Nordquist is fieldside. Alan, Minnesota scored 2 goals last week in Edmonton. Ben Spies had them both. The second goal for Spies was a tremendous individual effort. His first goal, though, was truly a team goal.
Yeah, Minnesota signed a couple of big-name players, Chris, but it's Ben Spies that stepped up his game. In this clip, you see the ball played from the back, splits the midfield to Danny Cruz, who's starting to get the ball going forward here. But you see Venegas on the right-hand side holding his space out there, waiting for the ball. It eventually comes to him by a mistake. But he comes inside here, and you see Ramirez on the far side. He was already got 2 defenders on him, which he always does, with the balls to be played through between them. And see Spies on the edge of the box, who uses his speed very quickly to get in a good area here. And as he does, he gets a shot between the defender's legs, which the goalkeeper can't see, and into the corner of the net.
BC is known as an attack-minded player, but what sets him apart from others, though, is how well he sees the game.
He's a very skillful midfield player, and he's always looking to get an edge on something here. As the ball goes out of play in this clip, everyone's standing around, but PC looks quickly over his shoulder here, and you see the space in the corner here, so the Fort Lauderdale players pick it up quickly, and then they throw it down there to give him the space. And with the kind of skill he's got, he always demands time and space, and here the defenders give him the space because he could whip that ball into the near post here, or he sees people coming into the top of the box here, where he tries to pull the ball back to try time to ring it right on the edge of the box here. As it comes across the box here, the players that time their runs have a great chance to get a shot on goal for Fort Lauderdale Strikers right here.
It's the first road game for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers and the first home game for Minnesota United. Opening kickoff from the Nessie on May 29 is coming up. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by the 2016 season presenting sponsor, Allina Health, and by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of Minnesota United. Minnesota fans have been waiting for this night since Halloween of last year. That last time United played here in the National Sports Center, they finished 2-2 with the San Antonio Scorpions. Let's show you now the starting 11 for the Strikers, brought to you by Summit Brewing. The boss, Gale Agbosamunde, is a familiar name with the NASL, having previously played for Carolina and Tampa Bay. He now dons the red and gold for the Strikers.
Yeah, good pickup from Tampa Bay last season. He's very confident on the ball. He doesn't mind having the ball at his feet on the edge of the box. He's very strong in the air, very good in the tackle. He'll go all in, 100% committed every time he has a chance to make a tackle.
For Minnesota, one player who has shown very good progress in his development as a pro over the last couple of years is Brent Coleman. He took on a leadership role in his start last week in Edmonton. He's in the first 11 again tonight.
Yeah, it's good to see him back in the starting lineup. His quickness is his major asset, Chris. He uses his speed to get to the balls quickly, intercept passes, but he's also very strong in the air. And just like the rest of the midfield players in the defense, he's very strong on the tackle here, and he'll pop up in the box for a free kick or a corner kick and knock a goal in every now and again.
Here now are the NASL spring standings. This is the third game of the year for Minnesota United, just the second for Fort Lauderdale. They're coming off a bye last week.
Yeah, it's starting to take shape for Minnesota there. In third place, that's a good position to be in. The Cosmos coming up, and it's about time to beat those guys. But it's been a good start to the season for Minnesota. This is the home opener tonight, so they'll be looking for a good performance.
Should be a very good performance here tonight from both teams. This has got a pretty good rivalry starting to build between these two squads, going back to 2011 when Minnesota went down to Fort Lauderdale and won the Soccer Bowl trophy down there. And it's really kind of starting to build, and actually kind of goes back to even a little bit further if you want to go way back, 1984, when the Strikers moved from Fort Lauderdale up to Minnesota.
Yep, those were the days. But there always seems to be goals in these fixtures, Chris, and I don't see anything different tonight. It's been a tough start for the Strikers. They played the first game of the season, and then they have the bye week. It's very hard coming out of preseason, getting ready for the first game and having to sit out another week. So it might be a little rusty to start the game, so it's up to Minnesota to try and take it to them right from the kickoff.
One player to watch for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers is number 19, Jose Angulo. Last year, he had 6 goals. 3 of those came against Minnesota. Yeah, so he's going to get the attention of the back four from the Minnesota defense.
Yeah, he always seems to do well against Minnesota, so they'll have to keep a special eye on him. But like I said, Minnesota's got to get at them right away to see if they've got a little bit of rustiness in them, being off for 2 weeks.
Fort Lauderdale wearing their red and gold. Minnesota in the gray with the wing. We're underway here at the National Sports Center. Quickly right away. Cruz ahead. Ramirez. Back to Cruz. Side netting. Good start for Minnesota.
Yeah, good pressure by Minnesota. That's what the goes. Get at him there. You see Ramirez get fouled on the edge of the box. I thought the referee might have called that back for a free kick there. He got taken out right on the edge of the box, but good closing down, and Cruz got the ball in and got it back from Minnesota here. See Ramirez getting hit on the edge of the box here. Outside the right foot there from Cruz. Good effort. Good start for Minnesota.
Down here field side, guys. Home openers are always exciting, and you can see the crowd here at NSC very pumped up this evening. I think this means a lot for new head coach Carl Craig and United. First taste of victory last week in Edmonton. New faces on the squad, injured players trying to get healthy. Carl Craig and company really have already had to weather a storm a bit. And so tonight, home sweet home, comfy confines of NSC. They need to enjoy it, take advantage of it, and I'm looking forward to seeing them work hard and get 3 points.
Yeah, it's always good coming back home, Eric, to play the first game. It's a good start for Minnesota. They're having an attempt on goal right away. But, Carl Craig got his first victory last week. He did have a couple of victories last year as he was standing in for Manny Lagos. But it's always good to get the first win under your belt, and he'll be looking to get that second one here tonight as well.
Fort Lauderdale with possession. Julius James. First touch. Carvalho. Strikers are very high on number 11. PC on the left side into Angulo. PC top of the 18. Sliding tackle by Brovsky. Last touch by Minnesota. It'll all belong to.
It's good closing down there quickly, not allow him to turn the ball.
Long throw in. for Jason Mora, very familiar fans. Good tackle by Coleman to win it, cleared away by Lowe. Off the head of James, now Lang gets it through. Ramirez one-on-one! Saved by Cardoso. Minnesota was offside, though, on that play through. But we saw it last week. The attack, the high pressure put on by Minnesota, and they're continuing it here tonight early.
Yeah, there was a hopeful ball out there, Chris, but when it came out, it was Lance Lang that made that play because he closed down quickly.
And Gulo turning in Jock with the save.
Like I said, the play was made by Lance Lang there because he didn't allow the defender to become comfortable there. As the ball was played through here, he gets on the end of it because he can only flick it on with his head. But a very close decision there. Go through the defender's legs, but Ramirez may be off by half a yard.
4th minute of play at the National Sports Center. Chris Lidholm along with Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist.
It's one of those things we talked a bit about last season, guys, is how to get Ramirez the ball when he's playing alone up top like that. And Lance Lang, one of those new faces to United this year, as you can see, not only his ability from the pass to score, but to create and set up guys like Ramirez as well.
Yes, so far this season, Eric, Christian Ramirez to me looks a completely different player.
Fernandez up the right side and good for Justin Davis.
Yeah, Ramirez is, I think last year he kept looking over his shoulder for Pablo Campos coming on, but the number 9 job per se is his job right now, and it looks very good as you see Justin Davis here with his patented sliding tackle that he very rarely loses. But Christian Ramirez looks very comfortable on the ball. He's scoring great goals as always and making good plays, and he had a great chance there, otherwise it was offside.
Davis, go ahead, Eric.
Well, I'd say only 1 goal this season and only 2 games in, but Ramirez might be making some of the most impressive runs I've seen through his career so far.
And just last week in Edmonton, Eric, he had at least 2 or 3 chances that were very good chances that could have been goals as well. So he's getting into the right spots. Just a little bit more luck, and he will get on the score sheet again pretty quickly.
Lowe takes that down nicely, quickly forward. Bit of a hurried ball out of the back.
And Minnesota's kicking with the wind, Chris, so they're going to run away from it a little bit here, so they have to be a little bit more accurate with the passes, especially when they're trying to play them over the top.
We've talked about Ben Spies and his impact he had specifically last week, and Danny Cruz getting forward, but going to talk about the play of Jeb Brovsky for Minnesota. He's been doing so well in front of that back line.
Yeah, he's been very good so far in the 3 games that they played. He's won a lot of balls in front of the defense. His passing's been excellent. He's always there to win the ball, so he's done a lot of good things so far in 3 games.
Taken down by Venegas. Cuts it into the middle. Left-footed chip in. Off the head of Spies. Davis coming forward. That's cleared away by Agbusamonde. First touch by Brovsky. Fernandez now going forward for the strikers. Coleman puts his head on it.
Yeah, Minnesota's passing so far, Chris, looks really sharp, the one touch. And that's what's going to be the, to break down the strikers, is to play the ball 1 and 2 touch, not allow them to close them down quickly. And to create space here, right there, 1 touch and into the space for Venegas, just a little heavy. You can see he was going to break down on the right-hand side if that was a better ball.
Good step by Lowe. Touch forward looking for Ramirez. Spies gets it over to Lang. Davis pushing forward. Gets the ball from Lang. 1 defender to get around. Ball skips away from Davis, and the goal kick.
It's good to see Minnesota winning the second ball as well. That's going to be key also when the ball's played forward. We talked about it last year where they weren't winning that second ball when it was knocked down either by Christian or Pablo Campos at the time. But so far this season in 3 games, just starting the 3rd game here, Minnesota's closing the gap a lot better between Christian and the midfield.
Long ball forward from Busamonde. Mora. Carvalho looking for Angulo. Good tackle by Lowe. Now Vicencini with the ball at his feet, pushing forward for Minnesota. Slowed up by Busamonde. Carvalho. Angulo with a lot of space in the middle of the field. Keeps it going left to PC. He'll play it back in support to Fernandez. Mora. Flag is up from the assistant referee.
By Minnesota, just not giving him much. Trying to play the ball through between the defenders, making them play it square and across to the far side, which caught them offside.
We're into the 9th minute at the National Sports Center. Take another look.
Minnesota played a high line there, just enough to get an offside.
Instead of a lofting ball, and if that ball was maybe a little more driven, Mora could have been onside.
Yeah, and it's got to be driven tonight, Chris, especially going this way where the strikers are going, because they're playing into the wind, and any ball that gets up in the edge is going to hang up there, which that one did.
Good work by Cruz to keep possession for Minnesota. Step by James. Mora with it. Swings it over to Vertiz. Now Lowe with it for Minnesota. Quickly up the right side goes Damian Lowe. Lowe. Keep it on the ground, trying to connect with Cruz, and that was disrupted by Zepeda.
Great interception by Lowe there. Read the play well, saw that was going to come his way, stepped in front of the forward. They give Minnesota a chance to break down the right-hand side.
Guys, Minnesota United already have two incredibly athletic defenders in Justin Davis and Kevin Venegas, and you can kind of add Damian Lowe to that. I mean, you get him on loan from the Sounders. You can see a pretty raw talent, but incredible there for Minnesota.
Yeah, what I've seen from so far this season, even in preseason, he looked very good on the ball, Eric. Every time he got, you saw that how well he read that situation. He stepped up, inside of his own half, and he went, 30, 40 yards with the ball, and attempted a cross. It wasn't the greatest, but it was a good sign for Minnesota.
Lowe touches it away. Controlled by Alexander. John Mark Alexander swings it out right. Julius James now with the ball at his feet. Carvalho. Slowed up by Lang. Mora trying to work against the double team. Offside once again is for. Quick restart. Brovsky. For Ramirez, too far. And goal kick upcoming for Fort Lauderdale.
That was the right idea, just a little heavy hit then. Like I said, they're going with the wind, so just a little bit extra. If you can take a little bit off that. Christian was in again, one-on-one with the keeper.
One game last night. Jacksonville Armada getting the win at home by a score of 2-1 over Miami FC in an interstate battle. Pascal Million getting the game winner for Jacksonville in that game.
Looking at the schedule, Chris, the Strikers played Miami. I think they've got Jacksonville coming up, and they've got Tampa Bay games against Florida teams. Those are the kind of games that can get you up right away for the season.
Simple little foul by Cruz. 3 other games going on this evening. New York Cosmos is at Indy. Tampa Bay is hosting FC Edmonton, and Ottawa has made the trip to WakeMed Soccer Park to take on the Railhawks. And all 3 games currently sit scoreless. Well done by Lowe. Ramirez once again slow to his feet. He's down for Minnesota. James going forward. He's tripped up by Lang. Whistle from the referee, Caleb Mendez.
The ball here, and 3 players came into him, and he actually got hit, it looked like, before the ball even got to him. I'm not sure what the referee was looking at there, but that's a foul, because it didn't allow Christian to even jump for the ball. And you might be telling Lance Lang that he missed it.
Down here field side, I couldn't tell whether it was incidental or on purpose, but it looks like Ramirez is holding or favoring that calf right there.
Lance Lang just tripped him up. The referee saw that one. Sort of one.
That's been twice now that Fort Lauderdale defender has come in a half step late just to kind of send a message and make Christian Ramirez aware that they're there. But last thing you want to do is try and get in the head of Christian Ramirez.
No, it's not going to affect him. And the way it affects him is by putting the ball in the back of the net. You know, and you say, kick me all you want. You know, he's going to the net.
Carvalho, Mora. Carvalho, denied by Lowe. Vicencini. Now Minnesota quickly pushing forward. Venegas up the right side. He'll slow it up, allow numbers to get forward.
A smart play by Venegas. He didn't quite have enough people to get forward there, so just puts his foot in the ball, brings it back. It's Minnesota settled again.
Bromsky. Outright Venegas. Kevin Venegas still. We've seen him dribble 2, 3, 4 defenders. And so a free kick for Minnesota.
Yeah, for me last year, Venegas is one of the best players, you know, including the midfield players going forward, running at people. He has a step over here. He just glides by people like they're not even there. See a little touch here, and you got to foul him to bring him down. That Venegas is one of the best crosses in the league, but he's also one of the best at running. This is the dangerous area that we've been looking for Lance Lang to have a free kick here. We saw one in pre-season that he rattled off the bar from even further away. So this is a situation for him to get that ball whipped over the top of the striker's wall and maybe catch the goalkeeper off guard here.
Whistle from the referee. Lang. Free kick for Minnesota. 15th minute. Not missing that upper 90 by Mike.
Just almost needed to be like 3 or 4 yards further out so you can get that dip going with that pace on the ball. So he just gets under just a little bit. You can see that ball dipping. If it's 3 or 4 yards further back, you can see how that one, I think it was against Portland or Chicago, that he hit the crossbar with. It was just astounding.
Busamonde under pressure. Davis. Good flick on by Spies. Alexander able to come out of it. James gets it to Carvalho. Alexander, John Mark Van Alexander, fouled from behind by Vicencini.
Minnesota not giving the striker an inch on the ball, just competing for every ball, not making it easy for them.
James knocking it forward. Over the head of Angulo. It'll roll into Injok. Minnesota going forward. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, just so far this, I was going to say, Chris, so far this season, Minnesota hasn't had a lot of Venegas and Davis, you know, being able to get behind the defense, but they've still created a lot of chances without those guys. So once they get that game going, it should look really good for Minnesota.
Throw in upcoming for Minnesota. 17th minute. It's the home United. Spent the first 2 weeks on the road. Started off the season in Carolina where they lost 2-0. And then they defeated, or rather 2-1, excuse me, and then they defeated Edmonton 2-0 last week. Vicencini in there battling. End result will be a goal kick.
They're trying to win that ball in the corner in a tight situation, working very hard. And for me, Chris, last week, I think he was the difference for Minnesota last week, where when they played Carolina, they missed him in midfield. There was nobody to put the foot in the ball. When Minnesota went up 1-0 on Ramirez's, you know, unbelievable goal, Minnesota give the ball 5 or 10 minutes, and they needed somebody like Vicencini or Ibsen just to put the foot on the ball and keep possession. And they didn't have that, but last week they did have it, and he had a really good game, especially when Minnesota took the lead.
Ortiz ahead, PC. Working against Cruz. stay with the visitors. Talking about Vicencini, is it a luxury for him now being able to move forward and get into the attack with Brovsky on the field?
He looks good doing it. It looks a natural position for him.
Lang cuts it to his right. Lang, Spies. Chip it towards the far post. Lang is there, able to keep it in play. Lang. Right into the hands of Cardoso.
I think to make that run to the near post so he could pick him off there, but Christian stayed in the middle. It was an easy take for the goalkeeper there. Once again, a good move by Minnesota. Lance Lang doing really well.
Challenge won by Coleman on that one. Now Vicencini. Lang gets a lot of attention when he has the ball. That's blocked by James.
One thing I like about this strikers squad is big bodies in the back. Julius James, you have Ekbasamande, Alexander comes back and supports Zapata. I mean, these are some pretty mobile, big guys on the back line for Lauderdale.
Yeah, what that tells me, Eric, is you're not going to throw the balls up in the air for Christian to go up and win them. The balls are going to be whipped in where he can run across defenders and get in front of them and maybe get a flick on or glance it into the goal, or for Spies and Cruz to come in behind him. And Lance Lang is the guy that can do that, because the ball he plays in, it's never floated. It's usually whipped in with pace.
Cruz. Taken away by Mora. PC now with it. Fernandez. There's that high pressure from Minnesota causing problems for the strikers.
And they win the ball back because of it.
Good step by Coleman. Now Lang. He'll knock it off of James. Throw in for United. 20th minute here at the National Sports Center. Chris Lidholm along with Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist. It's the 2016 home opener for Minnesota United. Too high for Cruz.
See, slipping on the ball here. He gets in there quickly. Lance Lang takes it inside. He looks like he wants to hit with his right foot or play Christian. Just a little bit heavy there for Spies to hit that first time. But another great ball. You'd like to see Lance Lang get in a little close to the goal. He might have a chance at the far post to hit that ball in.
Good turf doesn't just happen. Optimum Field Maintenance requires the right equipment to get a clean cut at the right height. Minnesota United FC is proud to partner with Minnesota Equipment to help us maintain the perfect pitch. Visit mnequipment.com for your equipment needs. Vicencini. Up the line, Venegas. Working against Fernandez. Venegas wins it. Venegas. That's cleared away. Zapata. Brovsky with skill. Brovsky called for the running into Mora. And a red card has been shown to Jason Mora.
I think he kicked the foot out at Brovsky as he came down on the floor there. That's why Brovsky got up so quickly, because he wasn't happy with getting the cleats in his leg, I think.
And after 21 minutes, Jason Mora's night is done.
Quite an inauspicious return to NSC Stadium, isn't it, gentlemen?
Yeah, you know you wanted to have a good game, but I think he got a little over-exuberant here. As the ball comes in here, Brovsky does really well to get the ball. Venegas plays it in and he didn't get up in time. But he comes through and he falls over Jason from behind here. But as they go down, yes, obviously a foul. He got a little bit of a elbow in the back of the head. I didn't really see what caused the red card there, unless it was his cleats at him in the back of the head. Okay, it looked like, because Brovsky did give him the forearm as Mora reacted that way.
So Mora heads to the locker room, and Fort Lauderdale will be a man down for 70 minutes.
If you're a Strikers fan, you got to be a bit disappointed in Mora there as well. He initiates the contact, and you can see him physically moving in front of Brovsky to draw that foul. And whatever level of frustration that he had after the foul to then put that additional contact on Brovsky, he kind of made his own bed there with the being sent off with the red card.
Yeah, I think Eric he's got to be a little bit more calmer here. You know, Brovsky does foul him. He hits him with a forearm as he comes down. But Mora's got to know that the referee is standing right there. He's got to see everything he does here. He comes down, they see Brovsky with the left forearm to the back of the head, and then he brings his heel down on top of Brovsky's chest, which he wasn't happy with. But the referee's standing there looking at it. He just can't do that.
And Gulo. Ball skips away. Venegas back there. And a foul. Carvalho. And Venegas is down. It'll be very interesting now to see how the physicality picks up.
Yeah, it looked like it's picking up right away, Chris, because he chased him all across the field there and just barged in from behind. Might have stepped on Venegas' ankle. He is coming across. You see Venegas waiting for him. Catches him a little bit from behind on the calf there.
Spees out to Davis. Now for Minnesota, nothing needs to change. They're up a man, but nothing needs to change. They just gotta have to keep on with that high pressure, especially now being up a man.
Yeah, we talked about this so many times last season. I think there was 12 or 13 yellow cards Minnesota had on the opposition there. And you have to work a lot harder than the people with 10 men, because you have to sit back. You got to play it quicker. You got to move it from the back quicker. Do everything quicker to catch them, because they will get tired. You will break them down, but if you try and play at their pace, you're just playing right into their hands.
United coach Carl Craig's been on the bench for the most part during this first half, but now that they have the man advantage, as you guys talked about, he's up and pleading with United players to continue that pressure, smelling blood in the water, so to speak, and trying to get this attack moving here and get a goal before halftime. Yeah,
they've got to play quicker and get forward quicker, Eric, and keep closing them down. You've got to work harder than the opposition. They have 10 men, but if you just play to their, the way they want to do it, and they'll play the ball around and don't pressure them, you're playing right into their hands. Try and hold Minnesota off the score sheet here.
Carvalho a little slow to his feet after that tackle. Mateus Carvalho making his first appearance for Fort Lauderdale here in 2016. Turnover to Cruz. Spieth wide open! No goal. Offside.
Well, I'd like to see this again, Chris, because I knew Riemer, the run he made, but I wasn't sure he was offside there. The linesman was right on line with him, so we get a second look here to see how far he was off, or if he was off at all. But once again, it was pressure from Minnesota that caused this. Yes, he was offside. Just another half. A good call by the linesman. You like to see that ball coming just a little quicker there, because when Ramirez made that run, I knew he was offside, but I wasn't sure if Spies was. But it was pressure again by Minnesota that won that ball, that caused that break. And once again
more pressure. Spies. Hard tackle from behind by Alexander. A good tackle in the eyes of the referee. We're in the 27th minute. The National Sports Center, 0-0 our score. Fort Lauderdale playing with 10 men after a red card shown to Jason Mora in the 22nd minute. Brovsky. Venegas on the right. Ortiz fronting him. Venegas to the end line. Cruz. Ramirez. Save by... And a handball against Minnesota.
But a great run by Christian into the near post there again, and another getting by his man like he wasn't even there. Good pullback. Ramirez just couldn't quite get the touch on it. It came back too quick. Hit him on the arm. See, the strikers are starting to sit back a little bit already. So Minnesota's got to push forward, try and get Venegas and even Davis or Lang on this side behind the defense.
Good work by PC to keep that in play. Throw-in will belong to Fort Lauderdale.
See, the strikers will probably slow the game down as much as they can right now, Chris. Taking every opportunity to waste some time in throw-ins, free kicks.
And Gulo runs out of room. All three games that are going on this evening, New York at Indy, FC Edmonton at Tampa Bay, and Ottawa at Carolina, all sit at halftime, and all three are scoreless. We're into the 29th minute here, sitting scoreless. Brovsky, Venegas, step by Vertiz.
Venegas is on the touchline there. That ball's got to get to him quicker. Poor ball there by Brovsky. That should have been a little earlier and to his feet.
Driven ball from Vicencini, a little too far for Davis. Grow the game of soccer by integrating your company with our United Teammates program. Presented by Coordinated Business Systems. Receive benefits including tickets, social and web recognition, and access to exclusive events. Call your ticket rep today to be a United teammate. Bruno Cardoso making his second start of the year for Fort Lauderdale. Allowed just one goal in that first game of the season, coming back on April 2nd in a 1-1 draw with Miami FC.
See how long it took him to take that goal kick there. It was at least 30 seconds plus. Trying to waste time, and they're in no hurry to take a throw-in, which is normal. They're down to 10 men, so they're trying to waste as much time as they can.
Julius James put the ball back in play, spent some time playing in Minnesota, as well as San Antonio. Good work by Brovsky. Venegas can't quite get to it.
It took ball to Venegas. I'd like to see it just take one, Chris. Switching the ball quickly catches the team out of position there, but it took two or three passes, and it was a heavy pass that went out for a throw-in. But if it goes there directly, it's much better for Venegas, so he can get moving and running at them.
In that sequence, basically skipping Brovsky and having it go from Vicencini to Venegas.
Exactly, he was wide open at the time.
Spies, Davis, Lang now on the left. Lang will play it in. Up goes Cruz.
It was a great ball in by Lance Lang there, curling it away from the goalkeeper, not giving him a chance to come and get that ball.
Davis puts his head on it, then does Vicencini. Lang is going to be called on Alexander. This has been an interesting matchup so far in this first half hour. The Lance Lang, Julius James battle.
He's probably played against him a few times, so he knows what to expect. He doesn't want to give him too much space and time to let him run at him, because that's when Lance Lang's at his best, when he's running at the defenders.
Throw in for the strikers.
United assistant coaches all over the about how much time you saw Julius James on the free kick, now on the throw-in. just sauntering down to take the throw. United coach is not happy about it, guys.
Yeah, we just talked about it, Eric. It's like, you know, there's 10 minutes to go in the game, but they've got, you know, the rest of this half and all the second half, and just trying to waste time right now. But the more time that they spend not giving the ball to Minnesota, the less chance Minnesota has to score. So that's why Minnesota has to pick this pace up a little bit, play a little quicker, because with one man less, Venegas is wide open on the far side, and if Minnesota utilizes that, they can get a great ball in from Venegas and maybe a goal or two here before halftime.
Angulo. Last touch by Lang. Another throw in for the Strikers. They are in no hurry to put this ball back in play. Carvalho. Another one for the Strikers. Work the ball up the field any way you can.
You know, whatever it takes for those guys, and you know, it's not against the rules to waste time.
PC in the corner. Defended by Lang. Last touch by Lang.
But as soon as Minnesota does the urgency back in, the Strikers, where they'll be running to take every goal kick and free kick very quickly.
James. Too far for Angulo. Now Minnesota on the counter. Venegas. Cruz. Collides hard with Fernandez. He is now going forward with the ball for Fort Lauderdale. Soft pass from Fernandez. Low with the clearance, and Venegas can't control. Tough one for Venegas. Driven ball towards your head. Not much you can do with it.
No, not a lot with that one. Up by the chest, on the neck there.
Coming into this game, I was really excited to see PC on the Fort Lauderdale side, and I think you can count on one hand the number of touches he's had tonight.
Especially now, Eric, that they've gone down to 10 men, you would like to see him on the ball a little bit more. But like, he's hardly been in the game at the moment. But he will, if given the opportunity, he will, you know, jump up and bite your heels, and he's not afraid to shoot from distance. So Minnesota has to keep an eye on him.
Isn't that assert himself, Alan?
It is, very, very much so.
Check out fans enjoying the new Heineken Terrace, perfect for large groups or corporate events. Each ticket includes 2 drinks to enjoy as you watch the game. Call 7634-SOCCER or visit mnunitedfc.com to learn more about our premium seating options. Vertiz. Cleared away by Coleman. Agbusamonde puts his head on it. Turned over in the middle third. PC. Angulo. Marked well by Lowe. Angulo. Tracking back is Lowe. Carvalho, well hit. First 35 minutes in.
It's a good play there, Chris. The ball's played in there, came out, and Carvalho had a great shot with his left foot there. That was going into the top corner there, but an excellent effort here. Running away, turns on it, hits it to the far corner. Almost caught Sammy napping in the top corner. You can see how dangerous they are in those situations. You know, PC especially, if he gets chances like that, he's always going to shoot. So you have to be very careful about giving them chances in and around the outside of the box there.
Flick on by Ramirez. Carvalho. Alexander, the captain. Up the line. Good step by Davis to disrupt that pass. Lang. Spees. Spees. Touched away by Fernandez. PC with it. Touched away by Lowe. Up into the stands.
pressure a little bit here, Chris. You know, since they've gone down to 10 men, that's when they should have picked it up, but they've just stepped off them a little bit, and it's allowed the strikers to have some chances to get forward here.
This was something we saw last year with United as well, guys, is keeping that intensity and that momentum, given that you have the extra guy on the field.
Yeah, especially when they only have 10 men, you have to work harder than those guys at all times, you know, whether they have 10 or 11, but especially when they have 10, because moving them around, you know, it might pay off in the second half when they start to get a little tired late in the game. We'd like to see Minnesota get forward and put pressure on them right now to try and get that goal. Because the longer it goes, the better it is going to be for the strikers, because Minnesota will get frustrated.
Minnesota United, they've been early, they were creating opportunities, getting some goal-scoring chances. But here lately, they're having the struggle, specifically kind of when they get to that final third, that last pass isn't quite connecting.
Well, since the sending off, you see the strikers have dropped way back now. They're dropping everyone back into their own half. You've got 8-9 men across the back there. It's very difficult to break them down, playing at a slow pace through the middle.
Spees. Now Lang. Davis. And a corner kick for Minnesota. This United corner kick is brought to you by Which Superior. Twin Cities locations, which do you prefer? Spees on the corner for Minnesota. They sit 0-0 with Fort Lauderdale. We're in the 39th minute at the National Sports Center. In swinger. Off the head of Coleman, off the post! The diving header by Ramirez. Cruz back in. Off the head of James. And another corner kick for Minnesota.
It's a great hitter by Coleman. We talked about in the opener how he will pop up in the box and get a goal here. A little flick onto the far post. Ramirez diving with the diving header, just couldn't get the ball on target. Great effort there by Minnesota. Great chance.
Spees on the corner again.
This is exactly what Minnesota needed here. Great corner kick, and Lowe rising above everybody and just powers that ball into the top corner there. He's had a couple of goals in preseason, so it's not the first time he's been in this position, but that was an excellent header, powerful header, goalkeeper. And this is exactly what Minnesota needed to get that 1-0 lead against 10 men Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Scoring his first goal of the year. In the 40th minute, number 31, Damian Lowe, off the assist from number 10, Ben Spees. Lowe from Spees in the 40th minute makes the score. Minnesota 1, Fort Lauderdale 0.
You can see Minnesota have worked on these corners, because the corner previously there, you see Coleman getting up there and almost getting a goal with Ramirez at the far post.
After each United goal, Coordinated Business Systems will donate a total of $200 to the Pacer Foundation's National Bullying Prevention Center to help with anti-bullying efforts in teens and children.
With only 5 minutes left here in the half, Chris, be interesting to see if the strikers start to push forward now.
In Jock, able to push it away. Sammy Jock came well off his line, read it well in the air, and got there ahead of PC.
Yeah, I think the wind was causing problems there, Chris. The ball was hanging and hanging and allowed him to get there.
Through from Vicencini. Davis and James battling. Davis going to be called for the foul.
But that's much better by Minnesota. They're causing them to chase back on their own goal. Playing balls through there. Great run by Justin Davis. Just a little unlucky not to get there. But that's what Minnesota has to do, is make the defenders turn and run towards their own goal. A little push in the back there, referee called it.
Another foul, this time
I'm not really sure that was a foul. He went down to his knees and Christian wasn't near him. The referee saw it differently.
I got to get back to Damian Lowe for a second, though, guys. You bring in Pino, you bring in Lance Lang, you're excited about what the attack can do. But really, how much fun is it having yet another dynamic option? Again, a raw talent, but an athletic one in the back for United.
Yeah, he's like we talked about before. He's very, very good with his feet, on the floor here. He scored a couple of goals in preseason, so it's nothing new to him. But that was just an incredible goal there, getting up above everyone and just powering it into the top corner.
Brovsky. Touched up by Vertiz. Corner kick for Minnesota.
To take over now, Chris, they've got to start getting forward now, which is going to open them up, especially in the second half here. If they try to come out and get that goal back, it's going to allow Minnesota to break on them. But as the game goes on, they're going to get more tired and more tired because it is pretty warm out here tonight.
Lang on the corner. Say it skimmed off the head of Angulo, and it'll be another corner kick. 4 minutes. Corner kick brought to you by Witch Witch.
See if they go to Coleman here. Or Low again on the penalty spot.
It's cleared away by Vertiz, right to Vicencini in Minnesota. Ramirez, side volley.
Just got into that a little bit, Chris. That would have been in there, but great spot by Vicencini to pick Ramirez out of the far post.
Davis. Fernandez having trouble. Spies. Lang. Driven in. A little too far for Ramirez. Venegas hustling over. Brovsky picks his head up. Back out Venegas. Vertiz fronting him. Venegas still. Venegas still with possession, looking for help. Brovsky will play it in. Off the head of Agbusamonde. Cardosa comes off. Ramirez open net! And Chris scores for Minnesota!
Sometimes you're good and sometimes you're just lucky. This was a case of being lucky for Ramirez. He's looking up at the ball here. Goalkeeper comes out, has to reach over him. Christian just stands there and the ball drops right to his feet. He won't get an easier goal than this season for Christian Ramirez, but it's a great goal to make Minnesota 0 late in the first half here.
Sometimes standing in the right place at the right time, you get a gift.
As soon as that ball came in, you see Christian look up. He looked over his shoulder to see where the goalkeeper was. He wasn't going to go for it because the goalkeeper was going to come out and pound him from the back there. So he just stood up, and the goalkeeper tried to reach over the top of Ramirez, and he couldn't get the ball, and it spun right to Ramirez's feet, and it's a little tap in. You'll take those.
Scoring his second goal of the year, Christian Ramirez. This goal coming in stoppage time, and the whistle from the referee signals the end of the first half, and Minnesota and Fort Lauderdale finish the first 45 minutes with United leading 2-0.
Yeah, very good half by Minnesota there, especially when the strikers went down to 10 men there, Chris. For a little while, Minnesota laid off them a little bit, but they picked it up in the last 4. And they picked it up and got 2 goals late in that period here, which puts them in complete control so far going into the second half.
Let's go down to Eric Nordquist. He's with Carl Craig.
Home opener, big crowd tonight. You're up a man and up 2 goals. Your thoughts, Carl?
At this point, excellent, but a slow start, and we've got to turn that around because very good side, but we haven't played to the level that we're capable of, and I expect a lot more from us.
Good luck in the second half.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Back up to you guys.
Of course, his first goal of the year, and that gave Minnesota a 1-0 lead. Christian Ramirez adds a second. We're 2-0 Minnesota at half.
Be back. Okay, 2 minutes. '40th and 40 minute. Okay, 40th and 46th. Hey, not to be a clomper, but does anybody know what minute Jason Morrow was sent off? Thank you. How am I looking, camera 5? Looking good? Nice. Oh, the camera loves me. There we go. Oh, yeah. It's like the sun. Welcome back to NSC Stadium. It is halftime. Minnesota United leading Fort Lauderdale 2-0 after a 40th minute goal, first of the season for defender Damian Lowe. And in the 46th minute, Christian Ramirez with his second goal of the season. United also up a man after Jason Morrow, former member of United, now with Fort Lauderdale, sent off with a straight red card in the 22nd minute. Now you're watching tonight, and as most of you know, the vibe is good. Ticket sales are up because Major League Soccer is going to be here sooner than not. Recently, owner of United, Dr. Bill McGuire, spoke about and revealed what a future home for United might look like. Let's take a look.
This design is built to reflect not only soccer at a worldwide level, but our state and our community. The exterior skin, as it's called, is in fact a polymer mesh, a PTFE, that is designed to keep out a lot of the elements, wind, rain, etc. but also has the ability to allow light to shine through it. And the stadium is designed with the intent to have all LED lighting inside, which means we have the ability to, at different times of the day, change colors. Within the field, actually for people once you're in there and the players, a full 120 by 75 yard pitch between the lines, natural grass, about 20,000 seats laid out, and you can begin to see the nature of an oval roof open in the middle. Looking forward to moving into it February, early March at the latest in 2018.
Two late first half goals for Minnesota, the first of the year for Damian Lowe, and the second of the year for Christian Ramirez, has United leading the Strikers by a score of 2-0. Only in Minnesota can you celebrate National Park Week by visiting any of the 6 Minnesota national parks for free on the opening weekend of April 16th through the 17th. Be a Voyager. Yes, literally, Voyagers National Park is a park that allows you to make your journey your own by experiencing all the features the wilderness has to offer. The highest waterfalls in Minnesota, a look back in time, and wildlife surround you. This picturesque vision describes the opportunities within Grand Portage State Park and National Monument. Find endless ideas for the perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com and share your favorites with hashtag #OnlyInMN. Alan Willie, our first half highlights presented by Gillette's Children's Specialty Healthcare.
Yeah, Coach Carl Craig wasn't too happy with the start, but I thought Minnesota started pretty good. Had a couple of chances that were pushed offside there, but it was very close. But the Strikers, when they had 11 men, they were pushing forward here. Great ball into the box here, just a little early. But with the wind holding the ball up there, catches more offside. When the ball hangs up, when they're going this way, the ball's going to hang up in the air, cause them to go offside here. But if you look at the sending off here, Brofsky does very well to win the ball. Menegas plays it back to him, or steps in front, but you can see the forearm, and as his left foot comes down over the top, and the referee had no choice but to send him off. And here, once again, that was a great ball by Lance Lang to play in Ramirez, who was just offside, but you can see Minnesota was stretching him at that time. But once they went down to 10 men, Fort Lauderdale had a couple of good chances until Damian Lowe steps up and powers this ball in the top corner, giving the goalkeepers no chance whatsoever to put Minnesota out in front. But a great first half by Minnesota, and they'll be looking for more of this in the second half, with the Strikers down to 10 men. See, here's Christian Ramirez's goal. The ball comes out. He looks over his shoulder. The goalkeeper makes a terrible mistake, and it falls right to the feet of Christian Ramirez, and he side foots it into an empty net. He won't get an easier goal.
Minnesota took advantage of being a man up, and they found the back of the net twice. Lowe in the 40th and Ramirez in the 46th. Minnesota leads 2-0 at halftime.
Coach on the other side of this. Haven't seen him yet. Can I just interview some random Brazilian guy?
Possession's pretty even there, considering.
A little surprising on that. Yeah, no, I guess that's right.
4-0, no corners, a couple of offsides. Yep.
Coach just got back onto the field, probably 40 seconds out.
Damian Lowe with a powerful header. Christian Ramirez puts away a gift, and Minnesota is ahead of the Strikers by 2. Here are our first half stats. Pretty even on possession.
Pretty much 50-50. I think Minnesota had a lot more possession once that the Strikers went down to 10 men. But Minnesota has the all-important 2-goal lead.
We heard from Coach Craig. Let's hear from Coach Zanardi.
Coach, United were very effective in limiting your attack in the first half. Now you're down a man. How do you combat that here in the next 45?
Yeah, the first 45 minutes I cannot say anything because I don't believe what's happening here today. I'd like to play, but impossible. I'd like to play, but the situation is happening during the match. It's impossible, unbelievable. I'd like to say something, but I cannot.
Understand. Good luck in the next half. Back up to you guys.
Somewhat understandable. Frustrated Coach Zanardi.
I can see where he's upset with. I think he's upset with about the sending off because Brovsky did come down with a forearm to the back of Moore's head, which the referee missed. But he did see the left heel come down on the chest, which you had to give none or both, and he did one, and so I'm sure that's why he's pretty much upset with it.
Minnesota United with a 2-0 lead here as we get ready to kick off for the second half. Damian Lowe on off a corner by Ben Spies, that goal coming in the 40th minute. And then Christian Ramirez just kind of standing there minding his business, and ball falls at his feet, and he does what a scorer does. He put it away, and Minnesota leads by 2. Second half underway at the National Sports Center. Chris Lidholm along with Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist on My 29.
What it does with that second goal, Chris, that Ramirez did score just before halftime, was it's now the strikers have to open up a little bit if they want anything from this game, and what that's going to do is open them up the back for Minnesota, hit them on the counterattack. So Minnesota just has to be patient and let them come out with it, and then trying to hit them on the counterattack.
One substitution for Fort Lauderdale. Julius James is done, and in his place is Christian Blandon. Ortiz knocks it out of play. Not the best of touches by Eric Nordquist on the sideline.
No, you heard Coach
he was a
Carl
goalkeeper,
Craig.
so you got to forgive him.
You heard Coach Carl Craig wasn't happy with the way they played, and I think what he was talking about was the passing.
Good work by Zapata to get away from Cruz. Ortiz clears it away to ease the pressure. One of the goal scorers tonight, Damian Lowe with the ball. He'll play the switch. Lang puts his head on it. The top of the 18. Alexander, partial clearance. Touch into space by Davis. Blandon over there. Christian Blandon making his first appearance for Fort Lauderdale University, and at Shattuck down in St. Mary here in Faribault, Minnesota. Vicencini able to get it back to Davis. All right, Alan, we're into the second half. Minnesota with a 2-goal lead. Continue the high pressure or ease it a little bit?
When there's an opportunity to press that, then go ahead and do it. But just keep possession, keep the ball. Make the strikers work to try and win the ball back, just like they had to do right there. But close them down when it needs to be. Venegas saw that need to be closed down, so he did it. But Minnesota has to be better with the passing. Like I said before, that's what Coach Carl Craig was upset about. They give too many balls away by not playing it to feet.
Hard tackle by Danny Cruz.
Cruz coming here a little bit late, waiting. He tries to block him with his leg. So unfortunate, but himself by stretching his leg out in front, knowing that Danny Cruz was going to kick at the ball. And looking for Danny Cruz, he got a yellow card out of that.
So a 48th minute yellow card to Danny Cruz of Minnesota. Quickly put back in play by Ortiz. Well done by Brovsky to come out of it. Vicencini on the takeover.
So far, Chris, you can see the striker sitting back here. Everyone's back behind the ball.
Spies turns. Lang, top of the penalty arc. Vicencini, good ball out to Davis. One time in, looking for Ramirez, headed away by Zapata. Vicencini goes down hard. No whistle from the referee. Play continues. Fort Lauderdale trying to come out. Cruz disrupts that momentarily. Coleman using his speed to get back ahead of Angulo. Angulo takes it away, though. Fernandez. Throwing the arm up. Few words. Now everyone getting involved.
He was a little upset with the tackle previously here as he went through. He slid in and got kicked. They kicked or elbowed in the back of his head, and he wasn't happy with it. But you can do what he just does, come over and push someone over.
two quick kind of tackles, fouls, one that was called, one that wasn't, and the end result, it was very kind of interesting.
Julian tries to get the ball, he gets tripped up. The referee doesn't call that, but as the ball comes out here, you can see Borowski sliding in, he gets caught with he looked at the arm, the right arm. He didn't like that, but he also just got in the head with a tackle previously. That's two times the head in less than a minute. But you still can push someone over, Chris. And I'm surprised the referee didn't give him at least a yellow card for pushing someone over.
Free kick for Fort Lauderdale. They're down by 2. We're in the 51st minute. PC on the set piece. High lofting ball. Alexander puts his head on it in jock. Uncontested.
I will say, I really like the way that the referee handled that situation. Sometimes you give one guy a card, and then the pushing match goes on for another 2-3 minutes. He just settled everyone down, and ultimately they just play on and hopefully move on from it.
I think it didn't do anything to the coach to ease the tensions between the two of them right there by not giving him a card there, Eric.
Hopefully I get the chance to ask him another couple questions after the match, gentlemen.
Caio Zanardi, head coach of Fort Lauderdale, and the 4th official. Not the best of friends right now. PC. Bertiz. Trying to connect with Carvalho. But Coleman was back there for Minnesota.
Yeah, good position by Coleman again, like we talked in the open. His quickness gets him into places that makes the play look easy for him, and that was another case right there. He sees the ball coming and he runs back into an area where he can get the ball and just calmly heads it back to the goalkeeper.
Fort Lauderdale playing with 10 men after a 22nd minute red card to Jason Mora. Minnesota United took advantage and they've slotted 2 away here. The first in the 40th minute by Damian Lowe off a beautiful header off the corner kick by Ben Spies, and then Christian Ramirez in the 46th minute gave Minnesota a 2-0 lead, and that's where we sit right now in the 52nd. Hard-driven ball from Venegas. Lang stumbles a bit. Blandon. Carvalho. Had it momentarily. Now Alexander. John Mark Alexander with the switch. PC stepping up to defend his Venegas. Fernandez. Pass Vicencini. In with the tackle is Lowe. Fernandez. Again, Lowe. Doing well. He's doing it quite well at both ends.
Yeah, he's taking charge there. There was 3 people around it, and he just stepped in, took over, and made sure that ball was his.
Coleman and Lowe getting the start side by side after the injury last week to Thiago Calvano. Jose Angulo, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 6 goals last year, 3 of which came against Minnesota. Tonight, we haven't heard from Angulo anywhere near the Minnesota goal.
Yeah, he's been very quiet, but like I said, it's a 90-minute game, Chris. Minnesota should go ahead and try and look for this 3rd goal here to try and put the game out of reach for the Strikers.
Ahead for PC. Hard tackle from Lowe. Ball will stay with the Strikers, though.
Take no prisoners from Damian Lowe there. He went right through PC. You could feel that from up here.
PC gingerly to his feet after that tackle by Lowe.
They're coming across here very quickly. It was always going to be Damian Lowe's ball here, regardless when PC got there.
Brovsky into the feet of Spies. Leaving it off for Vicencini. Working against Fernandez. Vicencini. And a late tackle by Fernandez. The referee going to his pocket and shows Fernandez the yellow card.
Yeah, right. He did great to win the ball back there, but they were kicking at his heels. And as he played the ball away, he caught him late, right in front of the referee. You can see the frustration levels are getting up here, coming from the coach to his players early in the second half here.
And I think you kind of knew, too, after the Brovsky kerfuffle with Luis Fernandez, that the next one of those two that did something was probably going to be shown a card of some sort.
Yeah, and it's hard work, Eric, to keep complaining and doing what they're doing. You know, they need the energy to play the ball and move around, but they're spending a lot of energy arguing with the referee.
Lang bounces all the way through the 18. That yellow card was the second of the season for Fernandez. It's a 2016 home opener for Minnesota United, and all time, Minnesota has not lost in the home openers in front of their great crowds gathered here at the National Sports Center. 2 wins, 3 draws. And they're in a good position right now in the 56th minute, leading by 2. Spees with a great hustle. Ramirez finding an open Lance Lang. Will go off the head of Blandon. And a throw in for Minnesota.
Good play by Minnesota there, switching it from the right to the left. Ramirez seeing Lance Lang run behind him there. Flicks just a little high for Lance Lang, but he sees Ramirez make that run to the near post, and Lang tries to pick him out. Very good movement by Minnesota.
Low. In for Vicentini. Tries a little back heel. Angulo. Quickly pressured by Brovsky. Cruz. Spees! Oh, what a great diving save by Cardona. Nice Spees.
Confident shot by a confident player, Chris. 2 goals last week and almost a 3rd one this week here. Just a wonderful bit of play by Minnesota. Low, a great ball in to Cruz. Pull back. Once you score your first goal, you want to score more. He was very unlucky not to get his goal there.
This United Corner Kick is brought to you by Which Wich Superior Sandwiches, 12 Twin Cities locations. Which do you prefer? Lang on the corner, in swinger. Ramirez on the doorstep, can't put it away.
I think it caught him by surprise there, because it came through a whole bunch of people. And he stuck his foot out and almost played it back from the goal line.
Davis, first time. For Tees. Turn right back over to Minnesota.
You see the difference in balls played in by Lance Lang and Justin Davis there. Justin got a little bit too much air underneath that ball, and it hung up in the air, where Lance Lang is clipped in at a lower height with a lot more speed on it.
A little miscommunication there between Davis and Spees. Spees thought Davis was going to play it in. The run.
And a good start to the second half by Minnesota. Still creating chances, which is sure that's all Carl Craig wants, is to have to create a couple of chances. I'd like to see him getting a couple more goals here, because the more people he gets scoring goals to build through player by player.
Dark Clouds in full voice tonight, as is True North Elite and members of Wolf's Head, who've come down from Duluth, 2.5 hours to the north. Lured away by Vertiz.
See, Minnesota is switching the ball quickly now, Chris. Now that the strike is down to 10 minutes, it's giving them time to do that.
Venegas. Back to Low. Zapata put his head on it. Now Davis on the left side. First time forward for Lang, hustling. Agbusa collides with him. And the result will be a goal kick for the Strikers. You are at a Minnesota United game, be sure to visit the Chipotle Family Fun Zone behind East Midfield for some inflatable soccer fun. And make sure to stop by your local Chipotle anytime for lunch or dinner. Chipotle, food with integrity. Beautiful day has turned into a beautiful night here at the National Sports Center. Fans out supporting Minnesota United in their home opener as United leads 2-0 thanks to goals by Damian Lowe and Christian Ramirez, both of those coming in the first half. Ortiz, pressured by Cruz. Agbusamonde. Alexander, dispossessed by Spies. Quickly ahead to Lang. Loses the handle. That'll roll all the way back to Cardoso. Carolina leading the Ottawa Fury 1-0. They're in the 89th minute. T. Shipolani with the goal for the Railhawks. Carolina off to a great start this spring in the NASL.
Yeah, they look good against Minnesota, so it's not surprising that this could be their third win. They look really good, and hopefully they'll hang around for quite a while this season.
Brovsky. Threading the needle into Spies. He's fouled by Agbusamonde, and a free kick right at the top of the penalty arc from.
You can see how much confidence Spies has at the moment when that ball's played in. He's trying to pirouette on the ball. He had good control. Didn't get tripped up there. He might have had a shot on goal, but that's a sign of a confident player, the things that he's doing right here. Good ball in. Looks between his legs here. Gets tripped up, or he's got a great chance to shot on goal or play a little 1-2 with Christian Ramirez on the edge of the box.
We're into the 62nd minute. Minnesota holding on to a 2-goal lead over Fort Lauderdale. Damian Lowe in the 40th minute. Christian Ramirez in the 46th minute is the difference so far. So a free kick from about 24 yards out for Minnesota. Kevin Venegas, Lance Lang around the ball. Exactly who you'd expect to be around the ball in these free kicks. It's Venegas! Blocked by the wall. Venegas gets a rebound. Venegas in! Cardoso off his line, makes the save.
Yeah, Venegas didn't want to be denied there. Ball that comes back to him, gets deflected forward, comes back to him again. Almost had a third opportunity. Great play by there, Venegas. He wanted that goal badly. Deflection off their own play, comes back to Venegas again. Good save by the goalkeeper, good block.
This corner kick brought to you by Which Which. The 6th of the night for Minnesota. 0 for the Strikers so far. Spies on the corner. In front of the Dark Clouds and in front of True North Elite. High lofting ball. Up goes Brovsky. That goes off the head of Angulo. Ortiz. Hurried there by Cruz, forcing the turnover.
Yeah, great play by Cruz. There's times when you need to close down and times when you just need to stand up. But you could see that he didn't have great control of close them down, and they give the ball away for a throw-in.
At this stage of the game, guys, and we enter close to the 64th minute, when do you guys see maybe some substitutions happening for United? Not necessarily to take the foot off the gas, but inject some different energy into this game.
Probably, I think, 5 or 10 minutes, Eric. I'd like to see Ibsen get in here to see what he can do, because Minnesota needs to hold on to the ball. I think that was one of Carl Craig's beefs in the interview there. He wasn't happy, and I almost thought it was because of the passing. And you need to get Ibsen in there, along with Vincent Cheney, to see how those guys can play together again.
New York Cosmos holding on to a 1-goal lead late against Indy. And those two have a history of draws. Every time they've met, it's been a draw. So they might actually have a winner in the Indy-New York matchup tonight. Fernandez. Great turn at the top of the 18. And he puts a shot over the bar.
They've got to be a little closer and a little quicker there. Can't allow him to turn on that ball. He had 3 plays around him, but he lost all 3 of them. Had a shot with his right foot here. Just a great move here. Rolling up the back foot, turning around with his weaker foot. That flies in the top corner.
Brovsky going slowly forward for Minnesota. Now Cruz. Open is Venegas on the right. He'll pull it back and play it in support to Lowe. Davis, Lang. Ball's right to Venegas. Takes it down nicely, puts it back in. Headed away by Agbusamonde. And a hard tackle by Brovsky. No surprise there, yellow card to Jeb Brovsky.
Another good attack by Minnesota. They're switching the ball from left side to right side. Great ball in by Venegas. Just couldn't quite find him. You see Brovsky sliding in here. Catches him on the outside of the knee. The referee had to give a yellow card that time. That's the third time Brovsky's been involved and didn't get a yellow card.
Wasn't the Brovsky either on that play.
No, Brad. The way he caught him, I'm not sure how much damage it did do. It might be a little play acting going on there right now, but we talked about substitutes. I reckon it might be time to get Brovsky off here right now, because he's the #1 villain right now, and they'll do anything to try and get him sent off at the moment, so on in place of him.
I do agree with you regarding Ibson as well. I believe this is his first full week of active full contact practice as well, so getting minutes for Ibson would be great too.
This injury break is brought to you by Twin Cities Orthopedics, the official team physicians and athletic trainers of Minnesota United FC. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers acute injury access. Walk-in clinics open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Visit us at tcomn.com for more information. Substitution for Fort Lauderdale. Entering the game, Giuseppe Gentile. He'll be replacing Mateus Carvalho. Gentile in for Carvalho for Fort Lauderdale.
He went to the far side of the pitch, Chris, thinking that he's going to come back on, but obviously made a quick substitution and he's stuck on the far side. He's going to have to work all the way around now. Seems to be moving a little better.
Gentile making his second appearance of the season for Fort Lauderdale. Played last year with San Antonio. Made 16 appearances for the Scorpions, logging 2 goals. Spies with space. Pass behind Ramirez and rolls out of play.
Good play by Spies there, good turn. Leaves him, marker standing there. Just Ramirez.
Again, winning the challenge is Damian Lowe. PC looking around.
Limited the strikers to shots from distance right now at the moment, Chris, so you got to be very, very happy with that.
'69th minute. Minnesota leading 2-0. Damian Lowe and Christian Ramirez, the goal scorers. Fort Lauderdale playing with 10 men. They've been doing so since the 22nd minute. Red card to Jason Mora. Good ball out to Lang. Ramirez! Oh, but it's in the back of the net for Christian Ramirez, and Minnesota leads 3.
And when you're good, you can play a 1-2 here. Just a wonderful turn and run by Spies, but a brilliant ball in from Lance Lang. Christian Ramirez just couldn't quite turn it on goal. He heads it across, but it comes in off the defender, running back towards his own goal. But it all starts with a tremendous move by Ben Spies, turning in midfield, losing his marker. Great ball in by Lance Lang. Ramirez gets ahead on the ball, but it gets deflected into the goal. And that goal should put this game out of reach for the Strikers at 3-0.
Lang. That hits Blandon. Falls to Vicencini. Back out to Lang. Davis. One time in. Bounces through to Spies. Back across. Cruz. Just up and over. So an own goal. Last touched by Fort Lauderdale's Luis Zapata.
Ben Spies hasn't got on the score sheet tonight. Yeah, but he's been wonderful in midfield here, getting the ball. Every time he gets it and spins, he loses so quickly. And Minnesota are on their attack right away. Once again, we see the ball, the quality ball in from Lance Lang. That gives the goalkeeper and defenders very little chance to get to.
Like Busamonde. Nicely done by the Fort Lauderdale defender. We showed you just a little bit ago, New York leading 1-0. Indy came back, one in the 90th, one in stoppage time, and they defeat the Cosmos. Indy does by a score of 2-1. Zayed getting both goals. And we talked about those games finishing in draws. They were going to have a winner tonight. We originally thought it was going to be New York because they were leading in the 90th. But Indy, to their credit, comes back and wins 2-1.
And the Cosmos last year, Chris, won an awful lot of games late in games in the 80th, 89th minute, or in injury time, 1-0. But the tide has turned so far this year. That's their first loss. It's good coming in here to Minnesota next week. It's about time Minnesota put one on New York Cosmos.
With the Cosmos loss, and Carolina was leading on a goal by T. Shipolani. Now for the fact that Carolina could take that top spot alone in the spring standings. Angulo looking for help. Finds it in Alexander. Gentile. He'll drive it in. Off a low. PC pounces on the loose ball. And then Vicencini called for the foul.
I think his low went down. That ball might have caught him on his arm as he was diving low to get that ball. But they got the free kick just outside of the box here. See, coming in there low, diving low, catches him on the arm. Vicencini gets his foot in there. Trips PC, 23-24.
I think you're starting to get to a point, too, up a guy, up 3-0. If you're United, you want to get a clean sheet for Sami Najak. You've worked this hard, and you want to see it end with a 0 on the scoreboard for Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, he hasn't had much to do all night, Eric, so this will be an important save if he can pull this one off, if he can get past the wall.
Quick shot by PC, just curls wide. Good effort by PC on that one. Just about 2 yards to the right.
I think Sammy had to cover there as it was going wide. Clips it over the wall, always curling away from the goal. Looks like Sammy and Jock had it covered all the way. No problems there.
We showed in the open how PC was kind of seeing the game before everybody else. He was making that run off that throw-in that we were talking about at the top of the game. And here tonight, he saw in Jacques still kind of taking that last second to set his wall, tried to take advantage of it and get one on the board for his squad.
And if you notice the free kick there, they had two strikers players around there that were just moving around, doing nothing. Then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere and hits it.
Earlier, Alan, we talked about maybe seeing Ibson or what type of substitutions United might make down the stretch here. No Ibson as of yet. Daniel Mendez set to come on for the Loons.
Maybe his first appearance this year, but we know what Daniel Mendez can do. Danny Cruz has put an awful lot of work in tonight, chasing balls down and getting forward.
Good move by Venegas. And he's taken down by Vertiz.
Venegas is so good at sidestepping people as the ball comes in here. Lets the ball run past his body, plays it out of reach of the forward here, pulls him down, rugby tackle style.
Minnesota United, Daniel Mendez will enter the game, replacing Danny Cruz.
Yeah, just like I spoke a minute ago, Danny Cruz, I was just watching his game most of the way here, and every time he had the opportunity to close people down, he'd get the ball, close it down, run past the defender. He's worked very hard. Good effort from Danny Cruz tonight.
And he hears it from the Minnesota United fans gathered here this evening, bringing some to their feet, and great effort for him. And Daniel Mendez now enters and makes his first appearance of the season for United.
Yeah, what he does tonight in most games, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but his teammates sure appreciate it, Chris.
Minnesota United stays at home next week. The New York Cosmos come to town. Kickoff at 7 o'clock Saturday, April 23rd here at the National Sports Center. Get your tickets for that game. It should be a great game. These two teams, when Minnesota and New York get together, it's always a great matchup. And so get your tickets next Saturday, April 23rd, 7 o'clock, Minnesota and New York. PC. Pass behind Gentili. It'll roll all the way back to Njak.
I think PC is a bit disappointed there because when he looked up, he had absolutely nobody running down the sideline on the far side there to give him an opportunity to distribute. Disappointing situation there for number 6.
Yeah, especially when he's been working so hard. There's nothing being on for him, especially when they're down to 10 men. It's hard to get the runners into that position, Eric, but like you say, he's a little frustrated as well.
Tommy Heineman, the goal scorer, get the game winner for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They defeat FC Edmonton by a score of 1-0. They're able to do that at Al Lang Stadium. Free kick for Minnesota. We're into the 78th minute. Minnesota with a 3-0 lead. I'm Chris Lidome along with Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist. Spees, go ahead.
The strikers are just dropping back even further now. They're almost behind their own 30, 35-yard line. They're getting so deep, making it so easy for Minnesota right now.
Venegas tried to split the defense. Well read by PC. Venegas gets it back. But then Venegas called for the foul. Minnesota United just so confidently getting balls out of danger and then just getting back to the attack.
It helps that you're up 3-0, and Fort Lauderdale are pretty much spent at the moment now, Chris. As you see Ibsen getting ready to come in. Just wondering if it's going to be for Brovsky. You'd like to see maybe Carl bring him out with him on a yellow card. You hate to see him get that second yellow and miss a game.
Brovsky. Now Mendez. Davis. Over the head of Ramirez, headed away by Vertiz. Alexander takes it down. Lang wins it back for United. Here's Vicencini. Venegas. Minnesota spending a lot of time in the Fort Lauderdale end. Nifty back heel from Venegas. Read by PC. Throw in for Minnesota. Substitution for Minnesota. Ibsen will make his first appearance of the year, replacing Giuliano Vicentini, and Ibsen brings a whole new dynamic to the midfield for Minnesota.
Absolutely. You know, he started last season pretty much very similar, where he got injured early on, and it was a slow start for him. But once he got his fitness back and he got, you know, getting to know the teammates, he was really good coming down the stretch. So it'd be good to get him some minutes here to try and get him involved. Like I said, I would have much preferred them to bring Borowski off and maybe put Vicentini back in that position at Borowski's, because he's got that yellow card. And with such an important game coming up next week against the Cosmos, you hate for him to get the second yellow late in the game here. But it was a good game by Vicentini once again. Solid in midfield. Hold possession for Minnesota, which is what they needed, especially when they take that lead. See, the strikers just don't want to go anywhere near the ball. They just drop them back as far as they can, giving Minnesota the ball at midfield.
Davis now blending quickly forward. Off of Borowski. 82nd minute. Minnesota leading 3-0. On goals by Damian Lowe and Christian Ramirez, and an own goal off of Luis Zapata. Fort Lauderdale playing with 10 men since the 22nd minute after a red card shown to Jason Mora.
Pretty much since Minnesota got that first goal by Lowe, the game has pretty much been over, Chris. But Lauderdale have just been limited to shots from way outside the box or a free kick here or there.
Ibsen missed a fair portion of the preseason dealing with injury, but good to see him back on the field now for Minnesota. What is it exactly that he brings to Minnesota in that midfield, that kind of attacking center midfield role?
Well, you can see there he had the ball, he played it back, and he wants the ball all the time, which is what you want from your midfield. He'll go and get it when he has to. But he's demanding the ball all the time, and they give it to him. And he wants to control the game. When you get that 1-goal lead, you need someone in his position to do that. You don't want to drop back and let the other teams take advantage. So Ibsen does that really well, where he'll get the ball, play it quickly, play it out wide, run with it. He can do pretty much anything he wants with it.
Mendez swinging out left. PC. You see Minnesota get a lot of guys back behind the ball trying to protect this 3-goal lead. PC still. Now Fernandez for Fort Lauderdale. Fernandez likes to throw those arms up every time he goes forward. PC trying to connect with Angulo, but Lowe intercepts that ball.
You see Minnesota's in no hurry whatsoever, playing the ball around. See Ibsen there playing the ball inside, going getting it. Wants it right away, plays to the outside, he'll drop back and get it again.
Tried to play it through. Well read by Gentile. Angulo. Now PC. Borowski pushing up, putting that pressure on, forcing PC to make the pass. Egbuso Monde. Alexander trying to chip over the top. Will run on to Njok.
There's not too many runners willing to make that run anymore, because after that 3rd goal went in. Very difficult to get motivated right now for the Strikers, down 3-0. Some heavy legs out there.
Davis. Mendez comes over to collect it. Lots of touches for Ibsen. He's only been in for a few minutes. Good ball into Mendez. Mendez into the penalty box.
They're getting the ball and turning, running at the Strikers' defense. They kept backing off him, so why not keep going? Just couldn't quite get the shot on target here. Well, he turns it. Strikers are backing off. Takes a shot, kind of slightly gets blocked, but goes for a goal kick.
Substitution for Minnesota United. Christian Ramirez departs, entering Stefano Pino.
Yeah, we talked about earlier how Christian looks a more complete player this season. Good to get some Pino some minutes, see if he can get a goal against his old team here to get him off the mark. And Christian again, another goal. Might have been a tap-in, but he was in some great positions to help other people score, even the own goal.
So one Golden Boot winner departs, and another one enters.
Yeah, it's a nice luxury to have.
Stefano Pino winning the Golden Boot in 2015, Ramirez in 2014. Cardoso under pressure, able to get it away. Those are the fresh legs of Pino showing. Lots of new faces on the Fort Lauderdale roster compared to last year, so not a lot of familiar faces to Stefano Pino now being out there. Just 5 players returning from 2015.
And we talked about, this is only their second game because they had a bye week right after the first game of the season, so it hasn't been a good way to prepare the start of the season, but they have some games coming up against local rivals, so that might get them going a little bit too.
Up next for Fort Lauderdale, they're back home at Lockhart to take on Jacksonville Armada. That game on Saturday, April 23rd. And then the 30th of April, Tampa Bay Rowdies come to Lockhart to take on the Strikers.
So there'll be a couple of intense battles there. Hopefully they'll be able to keep their heads in those games.
Venegas into the penalty area, cutting to his left. Venegas just pushing it wide.
Yeah, good move by Venegas. I think he was trying to bend it into the far post, but it looked like his right foot might have slipped as he's trying to make that shot. Great run by Venegas, brings it inside, beats his man easily. As he goes to strike the ball, his right foot gives way and he pulls it to the near post.
'89th minute. Minnesota leading 3-0. Lowe and Ramirez, the goal scorers, an own goal by Fort Lauderdale. Gives us our 3-0 score. Mendez into Alexander. Fort Lauderdale getting into the attack, pushing forward. BC with possession. Lays it off for Fernandez. All belong to Minnesota.
Yeah, you don't want to call it a complete game, Chris, because there's always room for improvement. But Minnesota did everything that they were supposed to do tonight. They closed down early. They scored goals. They didn't give Fort Lauderdale any chances whatsoever. It's been a pretty comfortable 3-0 win for Minnesota tonight.
Pino called for the foul. Blandon quickly forward. Good touch by Gentile. And in Jock. Ball's on top of it.
A little bit of exercise for Sammy there coming out late in the game. Always reading the game well. Always alert.
Bromsky Out to Venegas. Good ball from Ibsen. Finding Davis on the left. Toro stoppage time for this second half. 1 minute. Venegas right into the hands of Cardoso. He quickly punts it out. Good hustle by Coleman to head it away.
We talked about it in the open where his speed is his biggest asset, and that's exactly what he did there. Closed down quickly and headed the ball out of play. Gives him time to get back in position.
Fernandez. Low. Leaves it off for Ibsen. We've gone final. Minnesota gets their second win in a row, remains undefeated all time in home openers as they beat Fort Lauderdale 3-0.
Yeah, it was a good team performance all around. Everyone did their part, Chris. Some good goals, some lucky goals, but in the end it was a very comfortable for Minnesota against the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, who were down to 10 men most of the game. But Minnesota played very well. It's a second win in a row, and it gives them full of confidence to go into the next week's game against the New York Cosmos here next Saturday night.
Take a look at the upcoming schedule for Minnesota United. As Alan just said, the New York Cosmos come to town next week. That game on the 23rd. And then they are on the road at Ottawa to take on the Fury. That game on May 7th. And then the Jacksonville Armada visit the National Sports Center on Saturday, May 14th. So the crowd here, they go home happy, seeing their home team win by a score of 3-0.
We talked about it in the opening that there's always going to be goals in this fixture, and it didn't disappoint us tonight. Minnesota got the 3 goals. So, you know, the Strikers didn't get on the scoreboard tonight only because they're down to 10 men, but it was a very, very efficient win for Minnesota United tonight.
True North Elite and Dark Clouds and everyone that's gathered here playing, you know, full voice for that full 90 minutes. And Minnesota gets a very dominant 3-0 win. Damian Lowe, Christian Ramirez, goal scorers, and it was just fantastic outcome for Minnesota. It's a triumphant home opener for Minnesota United as they get another vital 3 points in the race for the spring title. Damian Lowe and Christian Ramirez get goals to help Minnesota win their second game in a row, and Sammy and Jock post his second clean sheet. Up next for United is a tough test as New York Cosmos come to town on April 23rd. For Alan Willie and Eric Nordquist, I'm Chris Liddell. Thanks for watching. The final score, Minnesota 3, Fort Lauderdale 0.
Before you guys are ready for me to record some stuff with Carl. Yeah, it's a little ostentatious, don't you think? Nah, never mind. Forget I said anything.